The steak was rare. Blood pooled on the plate like a quiet warning. They thought they had outplayed me, naming their spoiled son CEO over dinner. But betrayal isn't the end of the game. It's the start of a masterpiece. Before we dive into this powerful story of betrayal and revenge, make sure to subscribe for more real-life inspired dramas every week. Now let's begin. The steak was rare, blood pooling on the plate like a quiet warning. I chose not to acknowledge it. Instead, I watched his fork clink against the wine glass, commanding the room's attention. My wife's brittle smile, her younger brother's smug smirk, board members feigning casual conversation while glancing at me sideways. "I have an announcement," Charles said, lifting his glass. "Gavin will be our next CEO." Not me. Gavin. His 18-year-old son who hadn't yet filed a tax return. Everyone clapped. I smiled. Carefully. Practiced. My heartbeat stung once, then settled into something colder. "Completely understand," I said. They didn't notice the way my hand tightened around the stem of my glass. They didn't see the kill forming behind my eyes. They thought it was over. It had only just begun. I started noticing the shift before they thought I did. Documents missing from the shared drive. Board meetings rescheduled without my knowledge. Claire whispering into her phone late at night, voice clipped, tense, as if guarding a secret she didn't trust me to hear. And then, the mistake. An email thread I was accidentally CC'd on. I stared at it in silence, each sentence unraveling years of loyalty. Once Gavin transitions, make sure to isolate Marcus from sensitive decisions. He'll understand. It's what's best. Understand. Not inform, not consult, just isolate. As if I were a malfunctioning relic, they needed to phase out quietly. I didn't reply. I didn't march down the hallway demanding answers. I just sat there in the dark, with the glow of the screen washing over my face, and felt something snap. They thought silence meant surrender. They mistook my calm for consent. But understanding isn't forgiveness. Understanding is fuel. And I was done playing their fool. They thought I wouldn't fight back. They didn't know I had already started planning their fall. My first move wasn't anger. It was distance. I became a ghost in the company I had built. No more ideas shared at 2 a.m. No more strategy meetings over Claire's morning coffee. I mirrored their secrecy, matched their silence. While they plotted my exit, I mapped their weaknesses. Charles? Obsessed with reputation. He feared scandal more than bankruptcy. Gavin? Sloppy. His digital trail was a playground of indulgence, underage parties, private clubs, whispers of insider trades. I hired a forensic tech. Every message, every file, every location, copied, backed up, and waiting. Claire? She wasn't just whispering to Charles. I found encrypted texts to someone else. A name from her past. An old flame. Reignited, it seemed, in my absence. That was the moment my restraint fully dissolved. They didn't just plan to replace me. They were hoping I'd disappear quietly while they lit cigars with the blueprint I wrote. Fine, let them think I was done. Meanwhile, I quietly acquired controlling interest in the company's most overlooked asset, the real estate division. Charles had always thought it was a dull branch. "Buildings don't innovate," he once said. That was his mistake. He never checked the ownership trail. On paper, it looked like offshore investments. Friends of friends. Nothing pointed to me. Not yet. But soon, every foundation they stood on would belong to me. They handed me the knife when they betrayed me. They just didn't realize I'd carve my revenge with it. The board meeting was set. The stage was theirs. Or so they thought. I walked in, calm, composed, carrying a folder that weighed more than just paper. "I'd like to propose my retirement," I said with a rehearsed smile. Applause. Forced, hollow. They couldn't wait to shove me out the door. But I wasn't leaving empty-handed. Behind that smile was a blade, and I had spent months sharpening it. I've also prepared a summary of upcoming operational changes, I continued. First, the severance packages. Stripped. Golden parachutes? Gone. Thanks to the misconduct clauses I had buried in their contracts years ago. Clauses Gavin had already violated, I know, because I leaked the evidence myself. Anonymously, of course, to the Regulatory Commission. His parties, his trades, his shady friends. All neatly packaged. Second, the real estate portfolio. As the newly announced majority holder, I'd be consolidating assets. Translation: tripling the rent on the company's headquarters and key facilities. Simple choice: pay up, or break the leases and move out. Which, as they quickly realized, would bankrupt them. Charles turned white. Claire dropped her pen. Gavin? Just blinked, confused, drowning in a title he never earned. I watched them squirm from across the table. My hands steepled, my face unreadable. They had no idea how far back this revenge had been brewing. They took everything I built. So I took away the ground they stood on. The boardroom emptied like a funeral procession. But the real burial hadn't happened yet. Later that evening, in the parking lot, Charles came for me. Red-faced, wheezing, his tie crooked like a noose. "You can't do this," he barked. "This company is my legacy." I stared at him. Really stared. The once proud patriarch, now just a tired old man clutching at a crumbling crown. "You handed it to me broken," I said flatly. "I'm just returning it in the same condition." He swung at me. Sloppy. Desperate. I sidestepped without effort, without even anger. He stumbled forward into nothing. Then I got in my car and drove off, the quiet hum of the engine smoother than his legacy. In the days that followed, the chaos was delicious. Regulators opened an inquiry. Gavin was forced to step down. The board was gutted, investors fled, and the company's stock, the one I once built from ashes, plummeted into irrelevance. I didn't flinch. Claire tried to call, once. I declined. She texted, "We need to talk." But I had nothing left to say to the woman who sold me out for family blood and cocktail promises. They never noticed the quiet one in the room, until he burned the room down. I relocated to a small home 2 states away. Not extravagant, but entirely mine. Paid in full. The silence there wasn't lonely. It was earned. Some nights, I'd sit on the porch, glass of scotch in hand, watching the stars like distant fires burning out. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I disagree. Revenge is best served methodically, with fine wine and perfect timing. 3 weeks after the collapse, I received a letter, handwritten, unmarked. Inside, "Everything is falling apart. You've made your point. Please, let's talk. Claire." I folded it, set it on the fire, and watched it curl into smoke. Charles lost his house trying to cover the legal fallout. Gavin disappeared from social media, probably hiding, probably still pretending he'd earned any of it. The company? Sold for pennies on the dollar, its name dissolved in a merger no one will remember. Good. Let them all vanish into the background noise of failed ambition and inherited ego. I wasn't angry anymore, just finished. When you bury a traitor, make sure you also burn the map back to you. Months passed. I never answered Claire's letter. But one morning, I received a call from an unknown number. I shouldn't have answered, but I did. "Marcus?" Her voice, shaky, fragile. "I just wanted to say, I know what we did was unforgivable, but I still think about who we used to be." I didn't speak. Silence is its own kind of justice. "I lost everything," she added. "Gavin moved to Europe. Charles is in a retirement home he can't afford. I'm working in marketing now. Small agency. It's humbling." More silence. "Anyway," she said, "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. You were always better than us." Goodbye." She hung up. I stared at the screen for a moment, then blocked the number. Some ghosts try to come back not for forgiveness, but to pull you back into the fire with them. I've walked through mine, and I don't burn anymore. Today, I own my own company. Not a corporation, something smaller. Purposeful. I hire people who've been underestimated like I was. I invest in those who never got a seat at the table. And when I see someone like Gavin, I walk away. Legacy means nothing without the work. People still ask me, was it worth it? I answer with a smile. They thought I was a pawn. They forgot I built the board.